y'all doing? Okay, we're just gonna get right into the makeup. We're gonna talk, and then we're gonna talk about ghosts. But girl, I need to just explain myself. Hi, how are you guys? It's been 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks, and I've missed you. Yeah, if you're new here, hi, I'm Chase. It's nice to meet you. And I'm a hot mess. Clearly, I've been a hot mess for a few weeks now since I've skipped 2 weeks of filming. So if that intrigues you, if you like the inconsistency and the hot messery of it all, then subscribe to my channel. And when you subscribe to my channel, you join the Hot Mess Express, and this train goes full steam ahead. I'm not going to say it doesn't stop, though, because clearly it does. It has stopped a few times in its life. So, I've been gone for 2 weeks, and let me explain myself. But first, before I do, I'd like to say, Happy Halloween! That was really loud. Happy Halloween, everybody. This, right now I'm filming, it's not Halloween, but when I upload this, it will be Halloween. And I am so excited. Me personally, my friend is coming over. We're going to have an adult sleepover. We're going to drink some adult beverages, eat some food, and watch, I don't know if we're going to watch Halloween movies, scary movies, whatever. But we're going to watch, we're going to have fun, we're going to enjoy ourselves. And I am very excited. I forgot something. What else is new? Just a second. Where do I even start? Girl, where do I begin? Y'all know that song? So, I guess I'm going to start, actually, with the giveaway. Oh. See, it's been so long. I was about to start doing my foundation. Yeah, I guess I'll start with the giveaway, because if you are new to the first video, I was doing a giveaway, and in my last video, I said that I was going to announce it, blah, blah, and then I disappeared for 2 weeks. So, yeah, the giveaway still happened. If you don't follow me on Instagram, then you wouldn't know that. So follow me on Instagram. It's linked down below. But the giveaway did happen. I know I said I was going to announce it on here, but like I said, I didn't upload. So I announced it on Instagram, but for those of you who don't know, Caitlin, I'm not going to say her last name, but Katie was the winner. She already got sent her gift card. She picked a $20 gift card to Starbucks. What a surprise. So Katie was the winner. So yeah, the giveaway still went on. Now let me kind of explain myself as to where I have been for the last 2 weeks. So it kind of sucks that I only uploaded, this is what, the third time in October, because this is spooky season. October is spooky season, it's spooky month, and I didn't even end up uploading Spooky Saturdays in spooky month. That's just sad. That's honestly quite pitiful that I didn't upload Spooky Saturdays on spooky month. And it's upsetting to me because I was very excited to do October. I've had October planned out in my head since summer, what I was going to do, and then it all kind of just went downhill. That sucks, and it does kind of upset me because I had really good ideas for October. I was going to do this whole Halloween special, and it just kind of all went downhill, and I'm sorry about that. Like I said on my Instagram, I literally say in my videos that I'm a hot mess. So what do you really expect from me? Like, if you expect anything less, you're setting yourself up for disappointment at that point. I didn't do album of the week. So I've been listening to a lot of good music, but since it is Halloween, I'm going to have to go with my girl Kim Petras. Again, Turn Off the Light Volume 1. I've already done that one once, but it's so good. And it's a Halloween EP, so I'm going to have to go with that one again. I really recommend you go listening to it if you haven't. It's just a really good, like, dance Halloween EP. There's no slow songs on it, and it'll make you want to get up and shake your groove thing. I promise you that. So, where was I? I uploaded my last video, which was True Ghost Stories Volume 1. If you're interested in watching that, I will leave it linked in the description box down below, along with a playlist of all the spooky Saturdays I have made so far. Also, it's really cloudy and rainy out, and I'm home alone, and y'all know how that makes me feel, especially because the ghost stories I'm telling you guys today are very spooky, and so I'm a little scared. So after I uploaded that video, I planned on filming a volume 2, this is volume 2, but I was going to film volume 2, and it was going to be all of my family's true ghost stories. So they were ghost stories from my mom, my dad, my cousin Kelsey sent some in, which I don't know if I'll get to today, but I did want to give you a shout out, Kelsey. She sent me so many ghost stories that she's experienced, and I know I will in the future at some point do another like true ghost stories. So I'll share them then. I don't know if I'll be able to get to them today because I have a lot to talk about before we get to the ghost. I was gonna film that, you know, stories that my dad had experienced, my mom, Kelsey. Was going to film that on, I forget what day it was. And I just didn't feel like it. I'm gonna be really honest with you guys. I did not feel like filming. And this isn't my full-time job. This isn't like, I don't get any money from this. I just think it's kind of fun. It gives me an excuse to do my makeup once a week, and it's fun to talk about ghosts and kind of scare myself a little bit. So I did not feel like filming. I was just like, I don't want to. Like, I had worked a lot that week, and I just really wasn't here for it. And so I had pushed it off all day long until it was like 7:30 at night. And I was like, oh, I'll just film at night. Like, it'll be fine. Like, it's going to be fine. I have my ring light. It'll be good lighting. And yeah. And then I took a shower, and just in the shower, I was like, why am I forcing myself to film? Like, if I don't want to film, I shouldn't force myself to do so. So I got out of the shower, and I didn't film. And I told my mom, I was like, I just don't feel like doing it. And so I didn't, which, I mean, blame me if you want, but like I said, this is just something that's fun for me. And the reason why I did YouTube for a while, a few weeks there, I did it in a row. And then I stopped uploading because I was doing these singing videos, and I just didn't feel like uploading anymore. I was just, this isn't really that much fun. I don't want to do it. And then I came back and I uploaded one video, and again, was just kind of like, like, that's something that's, for me, since this is just a hobby and it's something that I enjoy doing, I feel like if I don't enjoy doing it, why do it? Why force myself to do it? You know? So I didn't do it. And that's what I told my mom. I was like, it's just a hobby for me. It's not like I'm getting paid. It's not like I have to do it. No one is putting a gun to my head and saying film and upload and edit. So I was just like, I'll film next week and it'll be fine. I'll still do that video and I'll still be able to be like on track. And so I just figured I wouldn't do like the Halloween special that I had planned. And instead it was just going to be, it was just going to be. So I didn't film that week. And then the next week rolled around. I was off on a Thursday. And it got to Thursday. And I just, again, did not feel like filming. I just did not want to sit down, do my makeup. I just didn't want to do it. And so I took a shower and I decided what I was going to do was sit on my bed in my little cozy Halloween blanket, and I was just going to tell ghost stories. I was going to tell, again, my family's ghost stories. And that was going to be that, and that's what I was going to do. So I was really excited for that, actually, because I was like, you know, it will be shorter to edit. It's not going to take me super long. I was working, and I still kind of am working a lot now. We're getting into the holiday season, and since I work in retail, that's like the biggest time of year for us. I was like, that's not going to be so much to edit, and it should be easier on me. So I sat down, I had myself a little drink, and I filmed my video on my bed with my blanket. And as I was filming that video, I was like, no, like, this is not it. I don't enjoy this. I'm not liking this. But I filmed it, and I continued it. I finished it. But there was at one point in the video where I literally stopped telling the story, and I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, this is boring just sitting here watching me talk, which is kind of what you're doing now, but at least I'm putting on makeup. Like, at least I'm doing something. And I was like, this is boring, and no one's going to want to watch this. I wouldn't watch this. Why am I even doing this? So I filmed that video, and then I filmed it on a Thursday, and I worked early on a Friday, and then I worked late on a Saturday. So I went in at like open on Friday, then I had all day long, and I didn't go in until, and I closed on Saturday, so I didn't go in until later. So I was like, if I film on Thursday, I will be able to edit it all day Friday and some Saturday, then upload it before I go to work. So I get home on Friday and I sit down, I upload the video into iMovie, which is what I used to edit. And I think it was because I was under the fan, but you could hear a whooshing noise in the microphone through the whole video. It sounded like someone put a fan up to the microphone and was just like holding it there. You couldn't hear me talk. It was completely washing out the sound. And I was just like, I'm not uploading this. I'm not going to upload this onto YouTube for people to see. Like, that's ridiculous. So I end up having to delete the entire video and start from scratch, which is what I'm doing today. Because I put off filming for so long, I didn't have time to film again. And it was just like, it wasn't working out. Today was the only day that I was able to film after last Thursday, because it was the only other day that I was off. So that kind of sucked, and I was just like, what is happening? Clearly it was not meant for me to upload in October, I guess. And it just kind of sucked. I was really looking forward to uploading in October, and I hate that I went 2 weeks without uploading and then not really giving you guys an explanation. Again, if you follow me on Instagram, I did talk about it on Instagram just a little bit, so you kind of know about it, but it just sucks. It was just, yeah. And I came to the conclusion that the reason why I was kind of tired of filming and why I didn't want to was because I sit here for an hour and a half and do my makeup, and then I take it right off. And that to me, I was like, why am I doing that? And like, I'm putting so much time into my makeup, and then I'm just taking it right off. Okay, I went ahead and threw some mascara on. I told you that eye look was going to be so simple. But yeah, something else I'm also going to try to do, that way I'm not... Because, okay, I like makeup. I love doing makeup. I love talking about makeup. I love watching makeup tutorials. I love it all. And it sucks that me being so picky about my makeup makes it not fun. So something else I'm going to try to do is not be such a control freak about my makeup and try to just enjoy it. So like, even though I feel like this needs blended more, and that these eyelashes aren't long like these because my eyelashes are annoying, I'm not going to keep messing with it. Especially because I'm just going to go take this off. So that's what I'm really going to try to do. Like, when I film these videos, I don't go anywhere. I film these videos, do my makeup, I stop filming. I might trot around the house for a few minutes with it on, and then I take it off. So I'm really just not gonna mess with it. I'm just gonna try to be like, also like with primer, I would mess with my face for like minutes, just like, girl, it's rubbed in, it's dry, what are you doing? So that's what I'm gonna try to like just do in my day-to-day life, especially for the videos. I'm just gonna try to not be such a picky bitch. Okay, so with all of that out of the way, I know none of you cared, and most likely half of you clicked off when you found out you didn't win the giveaway. Let's get into the ghost stories, shall we? Because these are some of the freakiest ones that I've experienced, that I've heard. I keep putting it off because I'm hoping my mom will come home, and she just doesn't, and it scares me. So, okay. We'll start with my mom. Since talking about my mom, we'll start with her and her experiences, because she only has a few. I like to say my mom is what I call a skeptical believer, because she does believe in the paranormal, she does believe in ghosts, but she will try to debunk it. She doesn't believe in it right away. If she hears something, and it's kind of out of the ordinary, she'll go hunt around, try to see what's the tea, what's happening, what's going on. Whereas, like, me and my dad are similar in the sense that, like, if something scary happens, bitch, it's paranormal. Like, I'm not gonna go look for it. No, I'm gonna just assume it's paranormal, I'm gonna sit down, yeah. But with that said, my mom shared with me 2 stories that she was unable to explain. So the first one starts when she was living at home with her mom and dad, and she was in her bedroom sleeping, and her back was facing away from the door. So she wasn't like looking at the door, and she was in that half awake, half asleep state when she heard the door open and someone walk into the room. And she could see, like, just from laying there, the light streaming in from like the hallway and stuff, right? And she doesn't really turn around because she's assuming it's her mom, my grandma, and she feels someone sit on the bed and then touch her thigh. So she's still thinking it's her mom, so she doesn't really freak out. This sponge is still wet, so that's probably not good. You don't want to apply makeup with a wet sponge, but here I am. So she's still thinking it's her mom. She's not really freaking out or anything. And then she looks over and sees that no one's there, but she can see the imprint in her bed of someone sitting there. So what does she do? She rolls over and goes back to sleep. She is crazy. I couldn't do that. And she did too. She just rolled right over and went right back to sleep. And she was like, well, what was I supposed to do? So I don't know, turn a light on. Turn a light on. Turn a light on. But she didn't. She just said, well, anyway. So yeah, she just rolls back over and goes back to sleep. Okay, Mom. Could never be me. Actually, it could. I've done that before. And then the only other experience she's ever really had where she could not explain what was going on and what was happening was we lived in this double, which I'll talk about later on in the video. If you don't know what a double is, it's one house split in two. So we lived in this double, and let me explain the layout for you real quick. I'm gonna set my beauty sponge down so I can explain it for you. So, you walked in the front door and you right away walked into the living room, or is it the family room? I don't really know. We'll call it living room. And then the living room was just one big room. There was a living room, and then the dining room was the same thing, just kind of split. And we had sliding glass doors went to the backyard. On the left side of the house, there was one hallway. My room was at one end of the hallway. There was a bathroom in the middle, and then my parents' room at the other end of the hallway. That was on the left side of the house. And on the right side, we had the kitchen, which was really small. It had like a bar area, like a bar with bar stools that you could, yeah. And then I believe there was another bathroom over there. There were a few closets, and then that led into the garage. That was the double, okay? So, one night, and that double was very haunted. I'll talk about it later on. But one night, me and my dad are in bed asleep, and my mom is up watching TV in the living room. And she sees a man. From what I remember, I didn't write these down, so don't shoot me. But from what I remember her telling me, he walked out from the hallway, and we had these little wooden deer that I don't remember if they were Christmas decorations or they were just kind of like up as decoration. I think they were Christmas decorations. And those things in that house were always getting knocked over. It was like always getting knocked over. When there would be no one there, like when we'd be asleep, my mom would wake up and they'd be knocked over. When my dad would wake up, they'd be knocked over. So she sees this man walk out of the hallway, I believe, and she thinks it's my dad. So from what I remember, I think she said something to him, and he didn't respond, but he knocks over one of the deer. So she, being the woman she is, was like, hello. And he walks from this straight across into the little area where the bathroom and the garage is and everything. So she thinks that maybe he went into the bathroom or something. So she goes over there because she's going to be like, why did you knock that deer over? And why are you ignoring me? And she walks over there. He's not in the kitchen. He's not in the bathroom. She's like, well, maybe he's in the garage. So she goes in the garage. He's not there. And then she decides to go check their bedroom. And sure enough, my dad is in bed asleep. And the reason why my mom believes this so heavily is because the only way that my dad could have gotten around her without her seeing was go out the garage, open the garage door, walk out of the garage, close the garage door, unlock the front door, walk through the front door, lock it, walk through the living room, go back into the bedroom, and cover up. Girl, that's a lot of steps. And my mom would have heard it because the house wasn't that big. It was a double. One, my mom would have heard him do that, and two, he didn't have enough time to do that because it was just a real quick sweep of the room, and then when there was no one there, she went back, and here he was. And like I said, let me not pick my nose while I do it, just a second. And like I said, stuff was always happening in that house. I mean, it was a constant, something was always happening. I experienced the most in that house, which I'll talk about later, but those are my mom's two big ones that she sent me. And she doesn't have a whole lot, so that's what you get. My dad, on the other hand, has 4 really good ones that my dad, it's kind of like me and him have had a lot of experiences. So he had a lot. These are just the top 4. And the ones that I know the most because he's told me them the most, and they're also like the freakiest, so be prepared. So the first three are when he was younger and living at home with his parents. And the first one is one that he has told me so many times. He was in his early 20s and he was living in like the basement, but it was kind of like a little apartment. He had his own bedroom, his own living room. He had like a wood burner fireplace in there, or it was a heater or something. It was a wood burner, and it was like his own little apartment pretty much. You should keep in mind, this house that they lived in was very haunted. There are many stories that he has told me about this house. Like, it was haunted to the point where they would always joke about the ghost. They even nicknamed him Sebastian. I mean, it was a very active house. I'm pretty sure we drove by it at one point and he like showed me it. I think they call it the White House. I'm gonna ask him about it if that's the house I'm thinking of. And I'll put it in the description box below if it is. So he was laying in bed one night going to sleep, and he said that he always had like little things happen. Like at one point he slept with the fan on to kind of drown out the noise that would go on upstairs, and the ghost or the spirit, let me call it a spirit, I don't like calling it a ghost, the spirit would always turn the fan on and off, and my dad would have to like yell at it to stop, and then it would stop. Or he said one night he had his jeans laying on a chair and there was change in the jeans, and he was just laying in bed and all of a sudden he starts hearing a change in his jeans rattling, and again he had to yell like, stop, I'm trying to go to sleep, don't do that, and then it would stop. So one night he's in his early 20s and he is laying in bed when he sees a man walk past him, and his grandpa lived in this house with them. Let me take a break real quick. Because I'm freaking myself out. Just 1 second. I'm gonna just take a break. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I just need to take this like a quick 1 minute break. Anyway, so he sees this man come down and like cross his bed and go to the wood burner fireplace, which he said wasn't really out of the ordinary because his grandpa lived there and his grandpa would always do that too. So he says, "Goodnight, Gramps," and the guy doesn't respond, which again was odd for him because him and his grandpa were very close and his grandpa would always respond, say just goodnight. So my dad instantly finds that weird, and my dad wore glasses this time and they were on the nightstand, so he grabs his glasses and puts them on, and he sees a man in a red flannel turn the corner and start walking up the stairs. So my dad jumps up and he runs the stairwell, and there was a light in the stairs, I should say, just like that lit up the stairwell. And he said the light was still on and there was no one there. And my dad said this person would have not had enough time to get upstairs by the time my dad got there. Like, there was no way. So my dad runs upstairs and his grandpa is in the kitchen doing dishes. And my dad busts the door and he was like, "What the hell are you doing?" Like, hello? And my dad asked him, like, "Did you just go downstairs?" And he was like, "No, I've been in the kitchen for like 30 minutes doing dishes." "Why?" And then he's like, "Well, is Dad home?" And he was like, "No, they've been gone for a few hours. Like, we're the only people here. Why? What is going on?" And my dad explains it to him, and my dad says when he realized that he, in fact, saw the ghost that was living in that house. Another ghost story that my dad has that happened, him and his sister, my Aunt E, were fighting one night, and he said they were just like fighting about normal brother-sister stuff, like, how siblings fight. And they were standing to where her back was facing the basement door. So she was facing away from it, my dad was looking at it. And he said the basement door was open, but it was dark, there were no lights down there, the lights on the stairwell weren't on, it was completely dark down there. So they're fighting, whatever, and out of nowhere, a pen comes flying up and hits the refrigerator, or hits the wall, or it hits something. So my dad, and those two were the only ones home, keep in mind. He runs downstairs, turns on the lights, there's no one there, he looks all around, there is no one in the basement, and there's only one way in and out of the basement, and it's up the steps that my dad just ran down. So my dad goes upstairs, and he said they're both like pale white, like paper, like a ghost. And all of a sudden, all of the cabinets, or the cupboard, I think it was the cupboard, the cupboard door flies open and all the pots come falling out of it. Girl, to me that sounds like a poltergeist. I would have left. I would have not have come back to that house. So these last two stories from my dad are probably the scariest stories I've ever heard, period. I'll tell you the one that was a little more recent. It happened in like 2015, 2016. My dad was driving to work, and my dad leaves for work really early, like to the point where the sun isn't up when he leaves. It's still dark out. So he was driving on this road, and it's kind of a back road, but not really. Like, it's still well traveled. There's neighborhoods and stuff, but there's no street lights on this road. So my dad's driving, and he has his brights on, and this car is coming past, so he turns his brights off, and the car passes, and before my dad can turn his brights back on, a man steps out from the side of the road right in front of my dad. So my dad slows down, and he's like, what in the world? And my dad said that he couldn't see his face, and he couldn't really see what the guy was wearing. He could just tell that it was a man, and that the man had a black hood on. So my dad is not thinking ghost. My dad is thinking, I'm about to get robbed. So my dad had some, I don't know what YouTube thinks is appropriate, so I'm just going to say my dad had protection in his car. You know, he is licensed, and so he had protection in his car. And he is looking at this guy in front of his car, and then also looking at the sides of the car and the back of the car, because he's thinking he's about to get carjacked, or they're going to try. So they're going to come up from the side and try to open the doors. So my dad's looking, he's reaching for his protection, and then out of nowhere, the guy just starts disappearing, just disintegrating. My dad said it was like something out of like a movie. Like it was like he just started fading, and my dad didn't know that it was a spirit, because he really thought that it was a real person until the guy started just disappearing before his eyes. I wouldn't have. And my dad said that like the feeling he got, it wasn't a good feeling, but it also wasn't like a menacing feeling. It was just uncomfortable, I guess is the right word for it. He said it was just very uncomfortable. And after that happened, my dad, let me tell you something about him. He does not scare easily. He's not scared of people. He's not scared of ghosts. He is not one that gets scared very easily. I wish I was like that, but I'm not. I scare very easily. If you couldn't tell from these videos. But he does not. This scared him so much that he like almost thought about turning around and just coming home. And he was like, I don't want to go to work. He wouldn't for months afterwards go down that road. He would go the long way to work. And he works like an hour away, so he has to get on the highway, but he would go the long way to get on the highway. Like he refused to go down dark roads, back roads, like things like that. If they weren't lit, he wouldn't go. It really freaked him out. I can't imagine experiencing that. Like I don't know what I would do. And the last story that my dad told me, it's not his last by any means, but the last story that my dad told me happened when he was younger. Him and his sisters were home alone. Again, it was my Aunt E. Him and my Aunt E probably had the most experiences out of everyone. Him and my Aunt E were in the kitchen, and I think he said she was around 12, and he was helping her with homework, and she had to use the bathroom. But one of their sisters was in the bathroom downstairs. So my Aunt E had a bathroom upstairs near her room. I think it was actually attached to her room. So she ran upstairs to go use the bathroom. And my Aunt E is kind of like my dad, to where she's not really scared of anything. Nothing really freaks her out. You know, she's very brave. So she ran up the stairs, and it was dark. She didn't turn any lights on. And I should also say that it was storming that night. It was a dark and stormy night, okay? Lightning and everything was included in this adventure. So she runs upstairs, and the next thing my dad knows, he's hearing whimpering from the bottom of the staircase. So he gets up and he runs over, and she's just sitting there. And at this point, their other sister came out of the bathroom, so she also goes over there, and they're like, what's wrong? What is going on? They're freaked out, and she won't talk to them. She's just shaking and she's crying. She won't talk to them. Nothing. So my dad was thinking he was going to have to call the police, and he was like, because he really thought something happened to her, like she hurt something, she fell, something. And they were finally able to calm her down enough to talk to her and find out what happened. And when she told them what happened, It's terrifying. So my aunt tells my dad and my other aunt what she saw, and they are stunned. She was running up the stairs to go to her bedroom to go to the bathroom, and she ran into something. And they had these like clothes racks, which are just, they're clothes racks, they're metal that you hang stuff on. And they had one upstairs, and so she just kind of was like, she thought it was that. So she goes to move it, and when she does, she instead grabs what feels like a shoulder. And at that exact moment, it thundered and then lightninged. Is that right English? It thundered and lightning? Yeah. And when it did that, it illuminated a figure standing in her doorway of a man wearing a black hood. Anyway, yeah, when he told me that, why am I putting blush on my forehead? That's embarrassing. No, that's not okay. That's not okay. I would have had a complete breakdown. How did she go to sleep that night? How did any of them go to sleep that night? So those are just a few of the stories that my parents have experienced, but let me tell you some stories that I've experienced. Now I'm going to try to limit this just a few, just so we can get through this. But I want to tell you about the double, because the double is probably one of the scariest things that I have ever experienced in my life. So, living there, I experienced a lot of stuff. But the one thing that has always stuck with me is that I would always see a woman. And I don't honestly remember her a whole lot. I remember she was older, and I remember she was really mean. She would run into my room, and she would stand at the foot of my bed and just scream and yell at me. And I would wake up crying pretty much every night. I'd wake my mom up. Well, I wouldn't wake up crying because I would never go to sleep because I was so scared. But I would wake my mom up just in complete hysterics, crying, talking about a woman. My mom and dad never saw her. And it was really like my poor mom, she never got any sleep because I was always waking up screaming and crying about something because I was terrified. You know, I was like, who is this woman and why is she yelling at me? I remember one night she would come from the bathroom and then like run into my room and then would like disappear, and just it was like a constant loop that she would just keep doing that, and it was so scary. I hated it. I also, one night I was laying in bed and I could, where my bed was, it was right by the doorway, so I could see down the hallway to my parents' room. And I remember seeing this man. I don't even want to call it a man. I don't know what it was. It just kind of formed, and it was sitting on the ground, but it was like crouched. And like, you know, when you crouch down, you are on your tiptoes, right? Well, he wasn't. He was on a flat foot, and he had his knees up to his chest, and his arms were wrapped around his knees. I'm getting like my heart just thinking about it. And his head was like an oval, like it was a head, but then the chin went down into a sharp point. And I watched him like materialize in front of me, and then, well, in front of my mom and dad's doorway. But like I watched it, and then he just started shaking his head yes, and that's all he did. And I remember yelling for my mom, and I was so scared, and she came out and she walked right through him, and I started freaking out even more, and she was like, I don't see anything, like you're just seeing things with your eyes, and she said, I'm not getting back up. And I remember laying in my bed screaming and crying. So thanks a lot, Mom. Editing Chase, not really, I'm not editing yet. This hoodie makes me look like I have no neck. It's like a floating head. Anyway, I forgot to mention when telling the story about the double that after we moved out of that double and we lived in the house we live in now, me and my mom and dad were talking one night about, I don't even remember what we were talking about. Long story short, they told me, my mom's right over there, she's right there, if she wants to chime in, but she told me that an old woman did in fact die in that house from, was it cancer that she died from?
I don't remember what she died from, I just know that she had passed away in the house.
Yeah, she passed away in the house, and from what I remember, was her bedroom the one that I was sleeping in?
Yes, from what I was told.
And it was, we were told this by our neighbors who lived there before we lived there. And she hated kids. So I'm sure she wasn't thrilled when a kid was sleeping in her bedroom. I forgot to say that in the video, so I'll throw that in here. Okay, enjoy the rest of the video. I'm going to do my lower lash line real quick off camera, and I'll be right back. Okay. So the story that I probably tell the most when I talk about my ghost stories is this one. It actually happened in this house. So that's good. I'm so happy. So once we moved out of that double, we moved into this house. And since I experienced so much crap there, I was terrified to sleep in my own room. So I slept on my mom and dad's floor for longer than I would ever like to admit. And that clearly did not do anything because I still experienced stuff like this night. So this night, I remember we normally have a nightlight in our bathroom. And let me explain this to you. So we have my mom and dad's room at the very end of this hallway. Then we have my room, and then right next to my room is the guest room. It was my brother's room, but since he's moved out, it's now just kind of the guest room. And then right across the hallway from my room is the bathroom. And that's it. And the hallway leads into the family room, or the living room, whichever one. I don't know. At this point, it was the dining room, and we also had like the computer in there and stuff too. So I am sleeping on my mom and dad's floor, and we normally always have a nightlight in the bathroom. But I remember this night, the nightlight had blown, and my mom didn't have a replacement, so we didn't have one that night. And she's like, well, I'll just go get one tomorrow. So I remember it's dark, it's pitch black in the hallway, and I was laying right in front of my mom and dad's door that leads into the hallway. So I couldn't fall asleep this night. And I was just looking down the hallway when I think I closed my eyes or I rolled over. So I wasn't looking at the hallway. And then I rolled back over or opened my eyes. So then I was looking back down the hallway and I could see a man standing at the end. And he was standing in like the dining room, but it was like I could still see him. And I thought it was my dad, because keep in mind, my dad gets up really early. So I just thought that it was my dad, and I didn't really think anything of it. And I waved at him. I said, hi, like hoping he would see me and like wave back, I guess. I don't know. I was young. I think I was like 8, 9, or 10. I think I was 8. So I wave, and he doesn't wave back, but he's looking like straight at me. And I'm like, well, maybe he didn't see me. It is dark, whatever. So I wave again. And again, he doesn't wave back, but he sees me. And the first time I waved, it was like one of these, right? The second time I waved, I was like, hello. He still didn't wave back. So then I was like, hello, like wave back at me. What are you doing? And he never waved back. And I was like, well, that's rude. And then I thought it was odd because he like wasn't moving. He was just standing there. And I thought, well, maybe he's wondering like, what is that waving? I don't know. And then I hear a loud noise in my mom and dad's room. And I'm like, oh no, ma'am. And in my mind, I'm like, that, my dear, is a ghost. That's like the first thing that popped in my mind is it's a ghost. A ghost. So I freak out and I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, I need to check that. Like, what is that? So I slowly sit up from the floor, the little floor bed that I had, and I look up and I see my mom laying there peacefully sleeping. And then right next to her is my dad, very peacefully sleeping. And I look at my dad, and I look back at this man that's looking at me, back at my dad, and I freak. So I don't freak to the point where I'm like screaming, but I bolt up and I try to hide behind, there's this little sliver of wall that's literally like this big. And I try to like get so my body is up against that, so I'm hiding. And I'm like, Mom. And she wakes up and she's like, what? I'm like, there's a man in the house. And I don't think she believed me at first because she was like, what? And I was like, there's a man in the dining room. And she's like, okay. And so she's like, what is he wearing? I think that's what she asked me. So I describe it to her, and I don't remember what I described. In my mind, and this was years ago, so now looking back, in my mind, he was in like dress shoes, khakis, and like a flannel shirt with glasses. And he was like thinner. But my mom says that I explained it different, and I follow my mom more than I follow me because I forget. So I'm sorry, I honestly don't remember. But I know I explained it to her, and if you want, I can insert a clip of her I'll do that. I'm going to film a clip of her talking about me explaining this to her. But I tell her, and she's like, okay, what is he doing? I'm like, he's just standing there. And like, I look, and I'm like, well, he's looking at, we have the computer in there with the computer desk. And I'm like, he's looking at the computer desk. So my mom's like, lay back down. And she instantly jumps up, and she starts walking right towards him. I was like, this crazy woman's about to get killed. She's walking right towards him. And she walks right towards him, walks right towards him, walks right towards him, and then walks right through him. Child, let me put my lipstick on real quick. The lipstick's really streaky, but you can't really see from here. So she walks right through him, and I'm freaking out. I throw the covers up over my head, and I should probably state at this point that it is winter. We have all the windows closed, and the heat's on, and there's a fan in the room, but it's near my dad's side of the bed, so it's the opposite side of the room. So I throw the blanket over my head, and I don't remember if I was crying, but I remember saying, please go away, please go away, please go away, please go away. Like, I was saying that out loud, hoping whatever this was would go away. And I feel a cold breeze go up my face, like someone was touching my face. And then I just get this sense of like calm. And I'm like, I need to look. So I take the blanket off, and he's gone. So my mom's like, well, get up here, sleep with, like, we'll sleep in the bed tonight. And the next morning, I'm up, I'm in the couch, I'm drinking chocolate milk. And my mom gets this picture, and she brings it to me, and she goes, is this who you saw? And it's a picture of my great-grandpa with my dad and my brother and my sister. And I was like, yes, I don't know who it was. So I was like, yes, who is that? And she's like, that's your great-grandpa. And like, that's if that's not freaky enough, guess what the picture was? Guess. On the computer stand. On the computer stand. So, I think I saw my great-grandpa. And I've seen him a few times in my life. And he's not something that is scary or dangerous or anything like that. So in my video I was talking about seeing the guy at the end of the hallway. Will you explain like what he was wearing and what you remember from that night?
Okay. So from what I remember, you told me he had on a flannel shirt, and that's really all I remember. That, and he had a buzzed haircut, and I believe you said he had glasses. That's really all I remember with that. But you were sleeping in our floor, and so you would have, when you set up, you were looking straight down the hallway, and you said, Mommy, there's somebody in the house. Well, I knew there wasn't anybody in the house because I didn't hear anyone. And you just were very insistent that there was a man in the house. And I looked around the corner to look down the hallway where you were looking, and I said, where is he at? And you said, he's standing right there. Well, that's when I knew then you were just seeing something. And I said, Chase, there's no one there. And you said, yes, there is. And you explained to me what he was wearing. And I said, there's nobody there. And you said, yes, there is. And then you said that he was looking at the computer screen. You said, Mommy, he's looking over at the computer. And, I said, Chase, there's no one there. And then I remember you just kept sitting there. I went and walked down the hallway. And then when I came back, you were still sitting there. And you said you felt this cool breeze blow over you. And then you calmed down and went back to sleep. Because
I remember you walked right through him as you were walking in the hallway.
That's what you told me. You said, Mommy, you just walked right through him. How did you not see him?
Because then I remember sleeping in your bed that night, didn't I? You told me to just come and I slept next to you and Dad.
Yeah.
Yep. So there you go, y'all. I wasn't Oops. Well.
You were lying.
I wasn't lying. I have another one I want to tell, but I think I'll save that for another video. Also, this one's getting kind of long, and I did finish my makeup, so I don't want to keep dragging it on. So, that's the lighting. So I think I'm going to end it there. I hope you guys liked it. Thank you guys for being so understanding when I wasn't filming and when I was gone for those, 2 weeks. I appreciate it. Happy Halloween, everybody. I love you guys so much. Congratulations to Katie. Thank you guys for 55 subscribers. Yes. And I will see you in the next one. I love you all so much. Bye, guys. Happy Halloween. Mwah.